The first important thing is to remember why we are doing this. Now, we all have reasons why we have chosen to meditate. Some of us want to get rid of stress, others want to become healthy, some of you would want to have better relationships, while some of you would want to explore the unknown, or even some of us would like to arrive at an inner awakening. Whatever the reason might be, as soon as you sit down to meditate, briefly remind yourself why you have chosen to do this. It could be a very simple reason, it needn't even be the other reasons what we spoke about. It could be as simple as you just want to feel better throughout the day. And you know that it's possible through meditation, so you have chosen to do this. Your job is to just accept or acknowledge the reason and not judge it. Whenever you feel restlessness or resistance later on during the practice, just remind yourself quickly why you have sat down to do it. It would really fire up your motivation to help you keep up with your practice. Whenever we think of how we are going to do it, it would often result in creating barriers. As long as we remember why we want to do it, the house will be taken care. The next thing is milestones. Our brains are unfortunately wired in such a way that unless we set a milestone, we don't really work towards anything. But let's have reasonable milestones when it comes to meditation, and do remember that setting extremely ambitious milestones might actually take you off the track, which is counterproductive. Just like it happens with our physical workouts also. It's very important to set reasonable milestones. Goals would often end up making you feel frustrated and disappointed. You might even decide that meditation is not for you, and you might actually give up altogether. So instead of goals, let's call it intentions. Intentions are much more softer in nature, and not just softer, they're also more powerful. And also, doing something so that you get something out of it, and doing something because you love it. These two are different things. Can you see that? Do you have to set goals to do something that you love? Intentions give you a sense of directions, I agree. But goals create pressure because there is a timeline that comes along with goals. Goals cause you to extremely adhere for the achievement of it. And it can prove to be counterproductive when it comes to meditation. Maybe it's working for you in the work life, but in the inner journey, it's a lot more subtler, and the dynamics of how things work are quite different when compared to how it works in the outer world. When you are just starting out, simple milestones like being patient, not giving up, sitting through the whole session, avoiding drowsiness, these are enough. It's not about how big your goals are or how far it is you want to go. It is not a competition here, you see. There is no rat race. It is more about how authentically and how sincerely you want to do this. Also, as you progress in your meditation, let it turn into the joy of doing. You can have long term intentions, but let them be at a macro level, very general, not specific, like something like well being or joy, love, contentment, on those lines. With the accomplishment of simple milestones that we spoke about, like being able to sit down, being patient, not giving up, when we accomplish these small milestones, we send a signal to our unconscious brain that this whole thing is really happening. And this is very, very important because you need more and more support from your unconscious mind in order to pursue with anything bigger. Always remember that even though you are onto a journey towards consciousness, it must be very much with the consent of the unconscious mind. Else, you will not even be able to get yourself to sit for meditation, let alone pursuing it. The next thing is hope and expectations. You have just begun your practice, a few days have passed. Now, what happens? You start expecting the results, and this, trust me, will surely set you up for disappointment. You have begun your meditation journey with an intention. Let it take care of it. You don't have to have ambitious expectations about where you should be and where you are just within 2 3 sessions. This is likely to end up making you feel more disappointed. Now, let's consider a seed. You have dug the soil, nicely plown the seeds, watered them also. Now, how can you see the germination of the seed underneath within 2 3 days? And note this, it's very important. It doesn't mean that nothing is happening underneath. It's not that suddenly one fine day the seed sprouts and you'll be able to see the plant. It doesn't happen like that. It is a continuous process and it will only take time to come into our perception radar. Even before it comes to the perception radar, things are still happening. That is very important to note. In fact, it is not taking time for the change to begin. The change began on the very first day you sat for meditation, or actually, it began when you decided to sit for meditation. But the changes are not tangible. You just need to stay put until those changes are tangible. We spoke about milestones, right? If you don't have any of those, it's good. You can continue to merrily engage with your meditation sessions. But if you do have milestones, hold them very lightly. Don't be very serious about them. Even though they are small milestones, yet don't be serious about them. Only then you will be able to find joy in meditation. This is very important to note. Just have immense trust and faith that meditation is actually taking you closer to your intentions, but don't set any time limits on it. Just congratulate yourself for getting yourself to sit down and meditate. This is, in fact, an accomplishment in itself. You don't have to see progress in each and every meditation session. Some sessions will go well where you will be able to focus or be aware, whatever the method of the meditation expects you to do, while on others, you might not really be able to keep your focus or even be aware. There could be times when nothing seems to change for days or even weeks, and this is normal. So stay relaxed and remember that it is working at a very subtle level, it is working at a very inner level. Your effort should be diligent, but it is more important that it should be joyful. And the only way to keep it joyful would be not to get trapped in the cycle of expectations. The next thing is building sincerity. Have you observed how children play with twigs and other small things? Can you say that they are serious? No, they are not. But can you say that they are not sincere? Have you seen how they would be absorbed into the game? Remember, this is the key to make things more playful. If you are serious, you would be constantly worried about if you are moving closer to your goal, what is happening, why is it not happening, and so on. And that would really beat the whole purpose of meditation, isn't it? You have resolved to keep expectations at bay. You have next set a reasonable long term intentions for your meditation sessions, and also you are relaxed. You are sitting on your meditation cushion. Now, what next? Meditate sincerely. Sincere word is so aesthetic because it is more about being true to yourself. You do not have to be hard on yourself to be sincere. It's either there or it's not. If it's not there, just see why aren't you sincere, and maybe you should meditate on that too. Now, you have come this far by getting yourself to the cushion. Don't let it go in vain. Practice wholeheartedly without getting lost in your thought process. Most of you would say that you took to meditation to get yourself out of the thoughts, and here we are asking you to become free of thoughts to be able to meditate. And that's a fair argument. But please note this key reminder: the only possible way to be aware is to be aware. If you catch yourself in the loop of thoughts, just become aware of it, and you do not have to really fight to do anything to come out of the loop. You get lost, it happens repeatedly. Just become aware. You get lost and you become aware. You get lost again. What do? Just become aware and aware. Bring yourself back to the meditation. Be gentle with yourself. Like how would you handle a small baby who's trying to balance and walk, and suppose if it keeps falling, can you be violent with it, or would you fight with it? Remember the love with which you gently again try to make it stand, and again the baby will fall. Again you will try. This keeps going on. It's the same here. Remember that your sincere attempt at meditation is what will make it successful. Actually, success is a wrong word when it comes to meditation, but you understand the word better. You have seen success. You have been successful at many things. So you can relate to the word, and that is why I have to use it. But coming from where I come from, I would say fruitful. With reference to the inner journey, this is more a relevant word, because success is always in contrast, right? Can you have success without a contrast? Your success should necessarily have a contrast of someone else's failure. Can you be successful if all your colleagues, all your neighborhood, family members, friends, if all are successful? Then the whole perception of what you feel as success is gone, right? Then suddenly the meaning of success changes. Now you will want to have or gain something that is a little more than everyone else around. You see how it is so dependent on others? But here, in the inner journey, there is no success, because there is nobody else that needs to fail for you to become successful. So let's call it fruitful. You can be fruitful, and yet everyone else around you also can be fruitful. It doesn't put your flowering any down or any further up because of others being fruitful. It's just your own blooming. You see what I'm saying? In your sitting, when you actually sit down to meditate, there will always be matters that seem more important, and even those that sometimes need your immediate attention. Sometimes there will be some thoughts that are just simply enticing to think about. So resolve, be aware of all this beforehand, resolve not to indulge in any of those tempting distractions. Also, refrain from judging the quality of your practice. If it falls short of your self-defined standards, which it might on many days in the beginning, it will just lead to frustration and resistance. Experimenting acceptance. What is this? Our mind is wired in a way that it can easily be distracted. In fact, eventually you will be able to see that mind itself is the distraction. It is better to acknowledge and accept this fact and be prepared for it. Right before you sit for your meditation session, just quickly remind yourself of the potential distractions that might come up. These could be things you are worried about, your everyday chores, some pending work from the office, your argument with your spouse or partner, doubts about your future, and the list just goes on. But generally, the things on top of your mind, these are the first set of things that will immediately crop up when you sit down silently. When you go to a movie, none of this will disturb you, because you are overwhelmed by a new story. Mind gets overwhelmed by a new story. It forgets everything else and comfortably sees the movie. But here, there is nothing to overwhelm, and it is better to say that you are not yet overwhelmed by silence. Once you are overwhelmed by silence, that will take care of the noisy mind by itself. But until then, you just have to acknowledge these thoughts that are bound to pop up when you sit down. And also remember, you do not really have to resolve them right then and there. Whatever problems you have been facing have been there. Sorry to put it this way, but they have been there around for some time. You agree? Things you have to do will anyways have to be done. In these 15-20 minutes, you cannot come up with some groundbreaking action that will change your life or resolve all the problems that you are facing. Do you agree? I am just being practical here to help you sit down and meditate. So, when anyways you know that 15 minutes don't really matter, during your sessions, make sure to set those most important thoughts aside whenever they crop up. You may not be fully successful at doing so, but setting the intention to do so will make many things easier for yourself. And eventually, trust me, you will be able to do it. You have done a lot to set things right, and yet they still hang over. So why not try non-doing and see if it works? Having this experimental attitude might really help you with your practice and also to make it more genuine. The ideal meditation posture. Meditation was made famous as a global practice by Buddhism, right? Anything and everything that the Westerners have to say about meditation or mindfulness, it has its origin in Buddhism or sometimes yoga. And in Buddhism, all relevance they have to meditation comes from the Buddha. And because of Buddha's meditation posture, this was made as if it's the most ideal meditation posture for everyone. And whenever we hear meditation, we imagine the sitting posture with the spine erect and all that. This is not true. Buddha's posture suited Buddha the most. Yes, it is of course one of the most efficient meditation postures, there's no doubt about that. But it is not the only one. You must see how you feel and accordingly embrace a position. But do make sure the following points. Remember that comfort is the key. You can sit down or recline to begin your practice, and in our courses there could be some meditations that expect you to be in your walking position, some need you to lie down. So there is no one standard position for meditation. It actually also depends on the meditation practice itself or the technique that you are doing. This could be quite in opposition to what you have heard, but well, I have to tell you what it is, and I'm not really interested in telling you what it is supposed to be. And this, I guess, should hint you about the whole foundation of all the courses. My commitment is always for the individuals. You, him, her, individually. Even if it means that traditions and heritage do not accept, I frankly don't care. Few other pointers about posture. Your lips can be slightly open, your teeth slightly apart. This gives the maximum comfort with the enough amount of air to breathe. If your mouth is not open, because the nostrils have certain blockages most of the time, you're not usually given with abundant prana supply. We usually breathe less than what the body requires because our nostrils are not very clear. Here, as meditation is our priority, you can keep the mouth slightly open, just a very little, and the body will use the nose and the mouth combination to breathe the enough amount of prana which is required by the body. You can see right now also, just breathe with your mouth closed and just slightly open. There is a delta amount of air that goes inside which actually makes a significant difference in how the body feels. Again, just like postures, even with eyes, it depends on meditation to meditation whether you want to keep it closed or open. But here, to begin with, you can perhaps keep the eyes slightly open. If your eyes are open, you will be distracted with the things around you. And if your eyes are closed, it will make it easier for you to enter the world of imagination. So what to do now? Try to keep your eyes slightly open, that is half closed, half open. And you can perhaps stare at your nose tip. It would be better to face a wall when you sit for meditation, because sometimes when you feel like opening the eyes, immediately there wouldn't be anything that will distract you or draw your attention. So that will help you be pushed back into your meditation. Your eyes will move during meditation, but when you notice that they have shifted, you can return them gently without any fight or frustration to where they were, again starting to stare at the tip of your nose. This I am telling generally if you're just wanting to sit down right away, but otherwise, like I said, the posture and your eyes being closed, open or half open also to some extent depend on the technique which you are doing. With your lips slightly open, like I said, breathe in a natural way. It shouldn't feel controlled or forced. Let the body breathe. You simply breathe. You see what I am saying? There are different breath meditations where you would be expected to do different things with your breath. But here we are sharing the most simple and efficient meditation to begin with. So please relax and enjoy yourself and keep your breath very natural. You do not really have to exert any force. Meditation in general is a sort of indulgence. It cannot happen in a stressed environment. So scan your body for any tensions and squeeze and let it go. Remember, all the activity of even trying to meditate, it's all in the mind. So the body should be really soft and like a lump of clay, you see, solid and stable, but also very supple. This helps keep the physical distractions at a very minimum level. So ensuring these things will help you establish a regular practice free from resistance and also free from deliberate wasting of time. And you must note that it doesn't really matter how long you spend on preparation, because the preparation in itself is a form of meditation in which you are actually intentionally directing and sustaining your focus. After you do the preparation every day for a while, it will happen much more quicker. Okay, so all ready to start?